All right, guys, we are live again. A few minutes early, we're going to get started at the top of the hour. And today we are going to squash imposter syndrome. I'm very, very excited. We did this workshop about 2 weeks ago, Mark, was it?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
We did a 3-day workshop. And on day one, we covered how to squash imposter syndrome. And so many people left that particular day of the workshop pumped up, and they voted that it was the most impactful day of that entire workshop. So I figured we'd do it one more time just to cover the imposter syndrome part for those who missed it on the original go around. So everybody, welcome. Do me a favor. If you are in the Zoom webinar, go ahead and leave a comment. Let me know you all are here. I see people filing in. Good stuff. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And we're going to get started. Just so you guys are aware, we have a hard stop at the next top of the hour because our mastermind group, our elite level program group, we are meeting at the top of the next hour. So 6 p.m. Eastern will be our hard end time here. And we're going to try to fit it all in. We're going to cover imposter syndrome, and we're going to try to do a Q&A function. So it's going to be important that you guys utilize the chat function. That way we know what questions you have at the end when we do the question and answer session. So what's going on, Tommy? How are you, brother? I see Tommy flowing in here. Tommy's the man. What's up, buddy? Excited to have you here, dude. Okay. We're already live. Very, very good. Okay, you know what? I'll just get started. Let's just start it up. Let's knock it out. Guys, welcome. So for those of you guys who don't know myself or Mark here, let me go ahead and introduce ourselves real quick. My name is David Bibiano, and I am the co-founder and the co-creator, along with my friend Mark here, of the Real Deal Video Strategist Club and the Video Strategist Collective, which is a community that we started about 2 years ago. Mark, you want to give yourself a quick introduction?
Sure. Apart from being a part of the aforementioned clubs that David talked about, I own a digital strategy agency in New England, and we do everything from paid ads, funnel creation, organic social content, etc. So it's a pleasure to be here. I'm excited about this one.
Yeah, it's going to be good. So we're going to do this one again. Again, this was voted the number one most favorite part of our 3-day workshop that we did a few weeks ago. So we're only going to cover that this week, just as today. Now, if you guys want to see the rest of day one as well as day 2 and day 3, Mark, can you put the link to the mindset program?
Yep.
Those 2 days are recorded. So if you guys would like, I want to see the rest of that and the rest of the workshop, you guys are able to access that. Mark is going to drop a link in the comments of this chat right now, so you guys can check that out. But guys, let's get started. I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to remember to do the audio settings correctly so I don't mess it up again. So optimize for video and share sound. All right. Mark, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir. Looks good.
Let me pull up the chat so I can see people chat. And there we go. And let me go. And we don't have those boxes, those gray boxes that we had last time?
We do on the right side. Now it's on the bottom left.
Okay. Let me see. I'm going to try to minimize everything. That way they're not in the way. Okay. You may have to just monitor the chat for me. All right, Mark?
Yep, that's fine.
Okay. Is it clear now? You're able to see the entire screen?
Yeah, you still got something on the bottom right. It takes up a small portion. Should be fine.
Okay, cool. That's me and you. So I'll move that out of the way. There we go. Okay. Awesome, guys. Let's talk about it. Video Strategist Collective is our group, and today we are going to cover the imposter syndrome. A few things to expect during the next hour is that this is going to be 100% interactive, and you have to let your voice be heard. It's going to be important that you guys use that chat function. That way we can see your comments coming through, and we know that you're actually listening, participating, and understanding. So I'm going to ask you guys to communicate as much as I'm communicating with you, okay? Second, energy and commitment. commitment. Like I said on the first workshop, I'm going to bring you guys this message today. I'm very excited about it. And my level is going to be up here. I'm going to deliver this message way up here. I'm not going to come down here. You guys need to bring your energy level up here to match me so that I can deliver this message. And you guys are going to be able to walk away with something that is actually going to help you overcome imposter syndrome and grow your video production and strategy business. So I need your energy and commitment because I am going to give that to you guys. Last thing is, I am 100% confident that you guys are going to grow today. You guys are going to get something out of this hour that is going to help you be a better video entrepreneur. That is my commitment. And I know that you're going to get something out of it because the last time that we did this, everybody absolutely loved it. They caught what we called the bucket syndrome, and you guys will understand what that is here in a little bit. Just to give you guys a recap of, or not a recap, but kind of a picture into what we covered on the 3-day workshop. That way, if you want to go get the rest of those recordings, day 2 and day 3, and the remainder of day 1, you can. So today we are going to cover imposter syndrome. That's the first bullet point. But on the rest of day 1, we covered confidence, how to build confidence, what 2 different types of confidence there is, and how to build that up so you feel more confident in your business. That was also covered in day 1. And then we also defined your greatness. This was an incredible group activity that we did when we had all those people in that jam-packed webinar room. So if you guys want to see the rest of that, the confidence part and the define your greatness part, Mark put a link into the chat where you can purchase access to that. It's only $27 right now. That price is going to go up later, but it's only $27 right now. On day 2, we covered risk. Risk is a defining factor in entrepreneurship. Some people are going to take risks, other people are not. And that is the definition or the distinction between an entrepreneur and an employee is risk. So we covered how to analyze risk, how to compare risk, how to accept risk. We showed that the odds of success as video creators, as content creators, as filmmakers, as storytellers, the odds of success are in our favor when you actually take a look at the numbers. So it doesn't seem like so much of a risk to go out there and run a video business. Okay. So that was on day 2. And then on day 3, we did an awesome group exercise to help you overcome procrastination. I know you guys are just like me every once in a while, and we procrastinate on something. We put that edit aside, and then all of a sudden it creeps up on us and kind of bites us in the butt. So we did an awesome group exercise on how to overcome procrastination. Again, if you want access to those 3 days, the link is in the comments. Okay. Let me see here. That's not going to be applicable. Okay, let's get into it, guys. Like I said, we got 1 full hour. I want to go maybe about 40 minutes worth of me presenting, and then about 15 to 20 minutes of question and answer sessions on imposter syndrome. So let's dig into it. And what I want you guys to do right now is in the chat, I actually want you to put in the chat what you think imposter syndrome is. Give me your definition of imposter syndrome. And I need you guys to let me know here so that I can see what you're thinking. Put it in the chat so I know you're alive. Blue Echo Digital. Let's see. Geo, let's see. Don't feel prepared enough. Andres, I see you. Okay, good. What else do we got? Talk to me. I'm not moving on until I get a few answers in here. Got to have that commitment from you guys. Otherwise, you're not going to get it from me. What do you guys think imposter syndrome is? Let me go back to this so I can see. Okay. Y'all awake out there? There we go. Discrepancy between confidence and competence. Ooh, okay. Afraid people will find out that you are a fraud, not being yourself. Ouch. Right? Okay, cool. These are absolutely definitions of imposter syndrome. And I actually went to Google when I was putting this presentation together, and I had an idea of how I wanted to define imposter syndrome, but I went and I said, you know what, let me see if Google has a better definition of this. So I Googled imposter syndrome, and I went to this website called healthline.com, and I dug in there for a while. It was actually a pretty awesome website. But they define imposter syndrome as this. Imposter syndrome, also called perceived fraudulence, involves feelings of self-doubt and personal incompetence. Guys, I want to highlight those 3 words right there. Fraudulence, well, self-doubt is 2 words, but self-doubt and incompetence. Those words are words that cut deep, right? Those words are words that will stick with us and stop us in our tracks. When we feel that we are a fraud, when we have self-doubt, when we feel that we are not up to the task, when we're incompetent compared to other people, that will stop us in our tracks, right? We can't let that happen. We're going to overcome that today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over some signs and symptoms of imposter syndrome, right? Guys, if you don't know, I used to be an Army medic. So like a lot of times I'll draw from my Army experience and from my medical experience. But one of the things as an Army medic and any medical profession is that you have to define the signs and symptoms, right? You got to diagnose something before you can prescribe anything. So the first thing to do is, what are the signs and symptoms of this, whatever it is that's plaguing us, right? So when it comes to imposter syndrome, here are some of the signs and symptoms. You have imposter syndrome if you have a self-perception that does not match others' perceptions of you, right? You're thinking that people are thinking of you one way and they're thinking of you some way completely else, right? But you are deciding for them what they think of you. You have imposter syndrome if you feel that. You have imposter syndrome if you have the feeling that there are others who are better than you. Put in the chat, how many times have you guys been like, man, there's other people that are better than me at creating videos, telling stories, setting up lights, setting up audio. There's other people in the world that are better than me. And that makes me kind of like shy off from going and kind of going full force. Put in the chat if you guys have ever felt that. Next one, you have imposter syndrome if you have a fear of being called out as a fraud. How many of you guys are like, man, I'm afraid to land this deal or even speak about video or video strategy or video content, storytelling, because somebody's going to call me out as a fraud. This is one of the biggest ones that I ran into, guys. Somebody going to call me a fraud. And man, I'll tell you what, that is a hard one to get over. All right. You have imposter syndrome if you are feeling that the big wins were just luck. How many of you guys have landed a big deal and said to yourself, you know what, I can't get used to that. I don't know if I can replicate that. That was just luck. I got lucky once that I landed a $15,000, $20,000 deal, and I shouldn't get used to that. I should just be used to a $500 deal, $1,000 deal, right? We have so many people that struggle with that portion right there. It wasn't luck, y'all. You landed big deals for a reason, and you can't let imposter syndrome tell you that that was luck and luck alone. All right. Next one is you have questions if you belong. That's a big one, right? Next one, paralyzation to offer your service. How many of you guys, put in the chat, I'm going to pull my chat back up. I try to keep it down. That way I don't block the screen here. But how many of you guys have sat at your computer, you've typed up a proposal, you have it in an email, and you're just paralyzed to hit that send button? You're like, I don't know, should I? Maybe I need to change my price. Maybe I need to change this. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I need to scale this back. Has that happened to you guys? How many of you guys have sat looking at, trying to call somebody to offer your service or walk into a place of business and ask to speak with somebody? How many of you guys have stopped dead in your tracks because you just have that paralyzation of offering your service because you feel that you are not good enough? Has that happened to you guys? There we go. I see you guys. Okay, cool. So we're going to keep going here. Let me X that out. Underpricing yourself. How many of you guys are like, I can't charge a certain dollar amount because I don't have the right equipment, or I don't have the right experience, or my videos aren't good enough, so they're not going to be worth $5,000. I can't charge that. How many of you guys have struggled with underpricing yourself? That is huge. It plagues so many video entrepreneurs, but today we are going to squash that. Okay. This one. How many of you guys have a fear of actually landing a giant, massive deal, like a bigger deal than you've ever landed before? Because all of a sudden you're like, crap, I've landed this big deal, and now I actually have to do this thing. I actually have to execute. I actually have to create this. I actually have to do what I said I was going to do. And I am terrified of that because I've never done anything this big. That is imposter syndrome. A lot of video entrepreneurs will self-sabotage. They will sabotage their chances on their own because they are so afraid of landing a big deal and being called out as a fraud or failing or whatever it is. That is imposter syndrome, guys. Again, we are going to crush that today, okay? Which one of these is most relevant to you guys? Put in the chat. Which one of these, or one that I didn't list, which one of you guys, one of these do you feel the most? Big wins or just luck? Okay, cool. I see you. A little nerve-wracking submitting proposals like 75K plus. Yep. Okay. So you're sending out those big proposals. Absolutely. Good stuff. Parallelization, pricing issues. Andres, I see you. Sometimes we underprice ourselves, right? We think that we don't deserve a higher price. Just luck for sure. Okay, Tommy, I know you landed a big deal not even that long ago, brother. Trust me. That was not luck. That was skill. I know you sometimes you feel that way, but I promise you that was skill on your part. Okay. Good stuff. Okay. Let's go ahead and move on. Let me see, make sure I didn't freeze. Okay. Let me ask you guys a question. Do you guys want to squash imposter syndrome together? I need you to put it in the chat. Let me know if you guys actually want to squash this today. I need your energy in order to do this, or we are not going to make it happen. Put it in the chat. Let's make this happen. Let's go. Okay. Here's the deal. I'm about to hurt y'all guys' feelings. I have to hurt your feelings. I got to break you down in order to build you back up. I have to try to free you from that mental block, that roadblock that's in your head that's telling you that you are not good enough, that you don't belong, that this is just luck, that there's other people that are better than you. I'm about to break that down for you, okay? But I got to hurt your feelings real quick, okay? The reality is that everybody here, you are not the GOAT. You're not the GOAT. How many of you guys know what the GOAT is? The GOAT. Put it inside the chat. GOAT. What does that mean? Greatest of all time. There we go. Greatest of all time. You are not the greatest of all time. Get out of here with that Tom Brady mess. Why does always everybody bring up Tom Brady? Dang. I'll talk about him again. Jay brought that up last time. Tommy Holmes bringing up Tom Brady again. Okay, listen, you're not the GOAT. You're just not. All right. When we did the workshop the first time, Babe Ruth was not here. Babe Ruth's the greatest person to ever pick up a baseball. Greatest baseball player of all time, right? Michelangelo, the greatest artist of all time. He was not here on the first workshop. He is not here in this workshop. We are all video creators. We use our cameras. That's our thing. None of us is Steven Spielberg. None of us is the greatest of all time. Okay. And chances are we never will be. And I'm not saying don't try to be. I'm not saying don't try to be Steven Spielberg or better than him. What I'm saying is that the chances that any one of us is going to be better than the greatest of all time or the greatest of all time is astronomically low. Like the chances of that are like so super low that I'm willing to bet that none of us will ever get there, right? And you're telling yourself, listen, David, I thought that you were going to try to build me up, right? You're over here telling me I'm not the GOAT. I already know this. I already have problems feeling like I am not good enough. I already have problems with thinking that I don't belong. And you're sitting here telling me I'm not the GOAT. I already know that I'm not the GOAT, man. Like I get that. Okay. But again, I am trying to free you guys of your own mind. All right. Now, this next bullet that is going to pop up, I want you guys to grab a piece of paper and I want you to write this down. Okay. I hope you guys have a piece of paper, type it in your computer, put it on your phone, put it somewhere. All right. Because here is what I want y'all to remember is if the determining factor of you offering your services is whether or not you are as good as the next person, then you will never, ever, ever launch. You cannot let yourself compare yourself to other people because there will always be somebody better than you, right? Somebody is always going to be the GOAT, right? There will look, the only way that you can just be like, imposter syndrome is not a thing for me is if you're the GOAT, right? Tom Brady, We're going to use him as an example again. I don't know why everybody keeps bringing him up, but we will use him as an example again. He's the only person in the entire planet that can sit back and be like, I don't need to have imposter syndrome about being a football player because there is nobody that's done it better than me, right? Everybody else under him, Joe Montana, the second greatest player of all time, he now has somebody in the world that's better than him. And everybody under that ever picks up a football is going to have somebody else that's better than them, right? If the determining factor of you offering your products or service is that you are as good as the next person, you will always be chasing your tail. You will always be chasing a ghost because unless you're ever the GOAT, you will never, ever launch. You cannot let that stop you. Okay. You have to start somewhere. Everybody starts somewhere. Do not be afraid to start where you are at right now. Okay. Put in the chat if you guys understand what I'm saying, if that makes sense. Here we go. You're not the GOAT. Sorry, guys. You are not the GOAT. I want to give you guys a real life example of how I'm personally overcoming imposter syndrome. And here's the thing is that I'm working with the coach now who's helping me with some things professionally. And he's like, you got to give real life examples. You have to put real life examples out there so that people understand you and people see that you're in the same fight. So guys, if I'm telling you that you can overcome imposter syndrome, I've got to be able to overcome it as well. And I'm going to show you guys how I am going to do that and actually how I'm doing that at this very moment. This workshop is me squashing imposter syndrome. Okay. I just started my journey into motivational and public speaking and keynote speaking. And guys, it terrifies me. Absolutely terrifies me, right? The workshop that we did a couple of weeks ago, that was the first time that I'd given any sort of training on motivation, mindset, any of this stuff, right? There are so many people that are better than me. I'm not even anywhere near being the GOAT, right? There's thousands of motivational people out there, motivational speakers, motivational coaches, business coaches, all this stuff. There are so many people out there that you guys could legit stop watching this right now and go to YouTube and you could watch these dudes that are on the screen right now and you'd probably get way more out of it than you're going to get from me, right? Because I'm not the GOAT. These dudes are the GOATs, right? How many of you guys have listened to Les Brown? Put in the chat if you guys have listened to Les Brown. Les Brown is one of the most phenomenal speakers. He's got a way with words that just pump you up. Like if you're ever just like, man, I got 15 minutes and I want to get just amped up real quick, go to YouTube and listen to Les Brown. Listen to his story. Man, this dude pumps me up every single time. Les Brown is amazing. Billy Allsbrooks. I don't know about you guys. I like to go to the gym every once in a while. And every time I go to the gym, if I want to try to get just amped up and ready to go and get some extra reps in, I will put Billy Allsbrooks on. And this dude, when I'm in the gym, gets me so dang amped up that I get the extra reps in. I'm feeling great. I got all the energy in the world. These dudes are amazing, right? These dudes are way better than I will ever be at being motivational speakers. Can you guys tell who is the person in the big picture on the left? Put in the chat if you guys can see who that person is on the big picture on the left. Yes, listen to his radio story. There we go. Yes, on the left, Tony Robbins. Look at how many people Tony Robbins is talking to. There's thousands of people in this stadium. This guy legit talks to sold out stadiums of people. He, in my opinion, is the GOAT when it comes to motivational speaking. 100%. I listen to Tony all the time, right? These guys are phenomenal. They're the best of the best. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to stop myself and say, hey, just because there's somebody else out there that's better than me, just because everybody on this webinar right now could leave this webinar and go listen to Tony Robbins and get more out of it, that does not going to stop me. That's not going to stop me from being here to help you guys out in the way that I can help you out. So I need you to see this for your own business. It doesn't matter if somebody's better than you. What matters is that you do what you can with what you have. And I got some steps for you guys on actually how to overcome imposter syndromes. We're going to do that here in just a second. In fact, here we go, right? So how do I actually overcome imposter syndrome? I thought you guys would never ask. I got 3 steps. Each one of these pages is a step. So there's different bullet points for each step. So step 1 includes 3 bullet points. Okay. Very, very important. I hope you guys are writing this stuff down. That way you guys can really put this into effect in your life and in your business. So step 1 to overcoming imposter syndrome. Okay. You have to have your hearts and your intentions in the right place, right? If you are out there doing for your clients something that is going to help them be more successful in business, is going to solve their problem, and your heart and your intentions are to do that for them, you've already taken the first step, right? If you're a wedding videographer and your intentions are to give the very best wedding film to your clients, you've already taken that first step. That's it, right? We got to have our intentions in the right place. If your heart is there, then look, you're going in the right direction. That is the first thing. All right. Once you have that in the right place, then the next thing is to do the best that you can with what you currently have in your possession. That includes your camera gear. You're going to do the best with whatever camera gear you have. I don't care if you've got like a T7i or a Red Komodo or an Arri Cinema Camera, any of that, right? It doesn't matter where you're at. You're going to do the best with what you currently have. Also, your education, your resources, all of that stuff. You got to understand that this is a journey. This is not the end destination with the situation that you've got coming up where imposter syndrome is talking in your head saying, hey, you're not good enough. That's not the destination. This is just part of the journey, right? So I'm going to do the best with what I have in my possession right now. Now, with that said, I am also going to make the commitment to continue to grow. So if I land a client right now, I'm going to do the best with what I have right now, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to stop growing. I'm going to continue to get better so that the next time that I do work with them or with anybody else, I am going to be a better version of the entrepreneur that I want to be. That is the journey. Okay, I'm going to be better with my camera. I'm going to be better with my distribution skills. I'm going to be better with my strategic partnerships. I'm going to be better with everything. I'm going to commit to getting better every single day. This is step 1. These bullet points. Have your heart and your intentions in the right place. Do the best you can with what you have and make a commitment to getting better every single day to perfect your craft so you are a better version of yourself. Step 1. You guys feel that? Put in the chat and let me know if that makes sense. Put in the chat. We got more people filing in here. This is good. I want to go to the chat and see where you guys are at. Total sense. Okay. 100%. Let's go. Very, very good. Got that bucket. There we go. You found the bucket emoji. I love that. That's step 3. Hang on. You can't put the bucket out too early, man. We're going to get to that point here in a second. Okay. Step 2. Very important. You have to understand and realize that it is not your job to make decisions for other business people. It is not your job to make decisions for anybody else, period, unless they're like your kids. Everybody else, it is not your job to make decisions for those people. Too many times we tell ourselves, hey, listen, they're just going to say no because my portfolio is not good enough. They're going to say no because I don't have the right camera gear. They're going to say no because I only have a little bit of experience, and we make that decision for them. That's not our job, guys. That is not our job. We cannot make decisions for other people. We got to get out of our own way. Okay. It is not your job to determine the value that somebody else will see in your product or service. Your job is to do the best you have with what you have. And it's going to be their job to determine the value. Some people are going to say, I will absolutely pay that dollar amount for what you're providing me. I see the value and I will pay that dollar amount. Other people will say, I don't see the value. I don't see the value and I will not pay that dollar amount. We make these decisions as grown-ups and adults every single day with everything that we ever spend our money on. It is no different for your customers that you are trying to land, right? It is not your job for you to determine the value for them. It's their job to determine the value for themselves, right? It is not your job to decide if somebody else likes your portfolio. They're going to decide that on their own. You might have a phenomenal portfolio and somebody might just not like it. They might say, you know what? That's just not my style. That's not my taste. Right. And you might think on the flip side, man, my portfolio is not great. And somebody might be like, yo, your portfolio is amazing. Right. It's not your job to decide whether they like it or not. That's their job. Your job is to make your portfolio and put it out there the best you can. It's their job to decide. All right. It is your job to do your best and offer what you have. That's your job. Don't make decisions for other people. Don't make purchase decisions for other people. Don't make those type of decisions. Put what you have on the table. Ask for the sale. That is your job. Get out of your own way. Okay. I have lost track, guys. I've lost track of how many times I've talked to videographers and they come to me and they're like, dude, you know what? I'm trying to sell this project. I'm trying to figure out the pricing. I'll say, okay, what are you thinking about pricing this project at? And they'll be like, I don't know, $700, $750. And in my head, I'm thinking, yo, look, $750. Like if I'm doing the math right, you are not going to turn a profit. You are going to actually lose money if you do this project at $750. Why do you only feel $750? Why not do it for $2,500 or $5,000? What keeps you from doing it for that amount? And a lot of times they'll be like, man, I don't have the experience. I don't feel like I can charge that yet. I don't have the confidence in myself. All this stuff, imposter syndrome, just in their head, telling them, you can't do that. You don't belong here. You don't belong in a place where you can charge $2,500 for this video project. And so they continue to charge $750. Right. So what I end up telling them is like, look, listen, I want you to do this. I want you to quote this client. I want you to quote them $750. Then I want you to build out a different package. And I want you to include these things. And I want you to sell that for $2,500, put that on the table, $2,500 option. And then I want you to create another package with this other stuff. And I want you to sell that for $7,000 and see what they do. If they pick the $750 option, then, hey, guess what? You were right. If they pick something bigger, then you were in your own way. Right. And too many times they come back and they're like, David, holy crap, man. I did that and they picked the $2,500 option, or they picked the $5,000 option or the $7,500 option. I never thought that they would have picked that. I can't believe that actually happened. And it happens when you get out of your own way, because it is not your job to make that decision. It is your job to put it on the table and let them decide for themselves. Can you guys commit? Put it in the chat. Can you guys commit to getting out of your own way and not making the decisions for other people? Can you just offer what you got and get out of your own way? Let me see what you guys are saying. Absolutely. That's part of it, Andres. That's a whole different thing. Like the value, yes, you have to show them like how the video strategy that you put in place is going to generate revenue or a return on investment for them. That's a different conversation, right? What I'm talking about is too many people think that they can't charge that even though they can, right? But yes, absolutely. Determining or helping them to understand how they are going to get a return on investment is very, very important. That's a whole different training. We can go way down the road on that one. But hopefully that makes sense. Matthew, I'm not sure I'm understanding your question. Where's the line between offering your best and not giving way to GOAT syndrome? Matthew, elaborate on that, and I'm going to come back to that, okay? Going to come back to that. Okay. So step 2, guys, all I'm saying is put your best out there, put a price. It's their job to determine. It's their job to make that decision. Okay. Here's where everybody's talking about the bucket. This is the most important part of this entire thing. Okay. Step 3 of overcoming imposter syndrome. Most important part. It's something that I call putting it in the bucket. Okay. Now, in the last workshop, I said, guys, I'm not one to use swear words or curse words in a professional setting. And normally I don't, but I'm going to do it again because I have to get my point across, right? Sometimes in business, when you're like, should I send this proposal? Should I offer this project? Should I do this? And we're on that edge. Sometimes you just got to say, fuck it. Fuck it. I'm going to put it in the fuck it bucket. I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to get out of my own way. I am going to do it. I'm going to put it out there and I'm going to see what happens. Right? Too many times we keep ourselves from just going for it. That's like half of business is just showing up and just trying, just putting it out there. And once you do that, guys, some of the best things in your life will happen personally and professionally. When you just say, hey, I'm in, I'm going to put it in the bucket. And I got bucket syndrome, #bucket syndrome. I'm just going to go for it and see what happens. More times than not, guys, you guys are going to realize that it wasn't as bad as you thought it was going to be. Okay. So here's the deal, guys. I need you guys to commit to bucket syndrome. Let me go back to the chat here. Put bucket syndrome if you understand what I'm doing. And these comments are coming in quick. So, and guys, we're going to have a question and answer session as soon as I'm done with this. So this might be better for question and answer session once I get there. Okay. Bucket syndrome. Can I give you guys a real example of bucket syndrome? You guys are right if I give you an actual example of saying, you know what, screw it. We're going to do this and see what happens. Okay. I see you, Richard. I see you, Geo, bucket, Blue Echo Digital, bucket. Okay, cool. Bucket, Dan, I got you. Good stuff. Okay. Here's the deal, guys. I'm going to show you guys an actual real life case study with real life numbers. And I just pulled these numbers like 2 hours ago before this workshop. Okay. So a little bit of a backstory. I launched my business, my video production and strategy business in September of 2018. In fact, I think my actual official anniversary of 4 years in business is in like 2 days. So I've been in business almost exactly 4 years. I launched my video production and strategy business. Okay. Mark and I linked up and we created the Real Deal Video Strategist Club, which is a program that teaches videographers how to be successful video entrepreneurs, how to be successful video strategists. We launched that on May 17th of 2020. Now, if you do the math, that's only a year and 7 months from the time that I launched my business to the time I started coaching other videographers how to be more successful in their video business. That's only a year and 7 months. That is absolutely nothing. Okay. Also, when we launched the Real Deal Video Strategist Club, it was the height of the pandemic, guys. May of 2020, things were going bananas. Like absolutely nuts. Governments were shutting everything down. Cities were shut down. People were losing jobs left and right. People were getting sick. People didn't have money. The government was giving out grants and money left and right just so people could buy their groceries and pay for their rent, right? Like everything was going nuts. Nobody had money and everybody was absolutely freaking out. And Mark and I were like, man, we're thinking about launching this program, this course. Is anybody going to even have the money to buy it? Videographers are already telling us that they can't even land a deal. And how are they even going to buy our program, right? Mark and I had unbelievable amounts of imposter syndrome. Personally, I was like, how in the world am I going to teach other people how to be successful video entrepreneurs when I've only been doing it for like a year and a half? Barely. Yes, I've reached a lot of success in that year and a half. Yes, I've made like, I don't know, $250,000 or whatever it was at that point. But still, I've only been in business. I just had this massive imposter syndrome, right? Also, I was like, I've never created a course before. Mark, you remember when we did this? Like, what were you thinking when we launched this program? This was your first course too, right?
Yeah, it's thinking I've never done this before. I hadn't been in business all that long either. I'm like, I have no equipment to professionally record. I had a million reasons not to do it and a million things in my brain telling me, don't do it. People are just going to think you're a fraud. It's going to be a failure.
Mark's not even a videographer, guys. Like when I met Mark, he was like, I don't know anything about video, dude. Like, he's like, but we can teach this stuff, right? And so we thought about it. Should we publish this? Should we not publish this? We got to the point where we did what? We put it in the bucket. We just said, you know what? We're just going to do it. Just put it out there, see what happens, see how the world takes it, see how people react to it, and we'll see where it goes. 2 years later, guys, and I actually just pulled these numbers. So these are absolutely updated for our current revenue and sales, all this stuff. Okay. So on the left, we got total sales. The right two numbers, we've got affiliate earnings and refunds. Forget about the total sales. I really don't care about total sales, right? That to me, that's not the most important thing. To me, what I look at when I look at our numbers is how much are we refunding people? We have only refunded $12,882 of our program that we've given out to people or sold to people. If we had told ourselves, you know what, nobody's going to buy this, nobody can afford it, we are not the right people to teach this, we've only been in business for a little bit, all of these things, COVID's turning the world upside down, nobody has money. If we would have told ourselves that and not pressed the go button, we would not be in this situation. We would not have turned this into a successful business in less than 2 years. We've paid out $16,833 in affiliate earnings. We've paid, more people have recommended us in our program to other videographers than we've actually given out refunds. And that refund number is not 100% accurate. There's about $6,000 of refunds that we give in because somebody bought our program and then we went on sale like a day later and they asked to have the refund or the difference between the full price and the refund or the sale price. So about $6,000 of that is we've only had about 7 or 8 people actually ask for a refund. Now, guys, this isn't a brag thing. This is an absolute, sometimes you just have to say, forget it, imposter syndrome. I'm not listening to you. All of the things are stacked up against me and imposter syndrome's in my head telling me that this is not possible. But this is us actually saying, let's go for it. Put it in the bucket. Let's see what happens. I want you guys to see this for your own business. It is possible if you get out of your own way and start to believe that you are capable and you are deserving of making a living and actually living your dream life as a video entrepreneur. I want to share a story. I'm going to play this video and I said it so that you guys should actually hear it. Jess is one of our members in our elite video strategist collective mastermind. I'm going to play this video. I want you guys in the chat as this video is playing, I want you guys to type out every time you hear something that would qualify as a sign and a symptom of imposter syndrome. And I want you to hear how she has been able to overcome it. All right, Mark, just give me a thumbs up if you're able to hear this. Okay.
Okay. So I've been waiting since last Tuesday afternoon to share this with my Tuesday morning group. And so when, the weekly meetings were canceled for the next 2 weeks, I was like, no, I'm not waiting. I'm not waiting 2 more weeks. I've already waited 1. So back in March, when I joined VSC, I'd made $0 that year. I just moved to a really small, poor Southern town. But joining the VSC, I decided that I was going to make $30,000 my goal for the year. That was kind of pie in the sky, right? I never made that much doing video. I only wanted to work part-time. I was new in a small town. And my family, they were like, Jess, like, we support you and all, but I really need you to be realistic. It's okay. Like, if you fail, it's okay. We're here for you. And so I talked about that in either an accountability meeting or a weekly meeting. And you guys were like, fuck it, Jess. 30, 40, do 40, you show them. And I was like, what? Yeah, I think I will. And that was in March. And in April, I signed $30,000 worth of contracts. And you guys were really encouraging and helpful. And so I didn't say so at the time, but I, in my brain, decided that, okay, if I can do 30,000 in April, then I'm going to double my goal for the year. It's going to be 60. I'm someone who suffers from a lot of sort of like negative opinions of myself. I have a very negative voice towards myself and a lot of self-doubt. And that's something I've sort of struggled with my entire life. And so in one of those meetings, after I had just like signed $30,000 worth of contracts, it's like, well, I can't get used to that. I can't, assume that that's, repeatable. And David was like, stop, Jess. No, we're gonna turn that around. You did that. And so, I keep coming to the Tuesday meetings and all the workshops and things. You all just continue to inspire and encourage and share, and not just encouraging words towards me, but like the encouraging words you share with each other. I mean, that radiates, y'all. But the reason that I am making this video is because I just got back from the bank and I deposited a check from the third new client that I brought on this month bringing my annual total to $60,000. So I've done it, and I've doubled the goal that I didn't even think that I could reach. And a huge piece of that is you guys and the encouragement and just kindness that you've shown. And so I wanted to say thank you and hope that you will celebrate with me, because this is crazy. And you know what? I'm just going to do it again. So thank you guys for all that you do.
Let's go. I'm always pumped up after I hear Jess's story. I'm coming back to the chat. Guys, I heard probably like 5 or 6 signs and symptoms of imposter syndrome. What did you guys see in here that would qualify as imposter syndrome? Put it in the chat. Let me know what you guys saw, because I saw like 5 or 6 at least. Let me see what you guys think. There we go. We got people alive out here. I know you guys are there. Okay, look. Jess was talking about how she moved to a small southern town that was poor. It was out in the middle of nowhere. I can't land deals because I live in a small town and nobody has money. Nobody's going to pay me for anything. Right? There we go. I see you, Richard. Her family was telling her, hey, listen, be realistic. Be realistic. That may not, $30,000 might not be reality, right? So that imposter syndrome's in her head already. She hadn't been in business very long. Right? She's not the greatest entrepreneur, the greatest videographer of all time. She's not the GOAT, right? She's out here doing her thing, right? In her head, she's thinking, I can't, my portfolio, this, blah, 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 blah. Guys, she got out of her own way. She stopped with the negative thoughts. She said, I am going to put it in the bucket, and she's making it happen. Okay. Imposter syndrome. You can't let that bring you down. This is the case. This is the kind of case where you see actually somebody overcoming this. And I want this to be the case for every one of you that struggles with this kind of thing. All right. So I'm going to fast forward through this. Well, actually, I want to show this. Mark, you can still see my screen, right?
I'm not seeing it right now.
Okay. Let me see here. I may have stopped the share. Mark, and actually, Mark, if you can. You got it now?
Yep, I got it.
Okay. Mark, put in the chat, if you don't mind, the link to this interview. Guys, this is Steve Richardson. We keep a track of who has the biggest deals in our club. Steve actually just broke the record not too long ago, about a month or two ago, I think it was. He closed a $324,000 deal. He overcame imposter syndrome. Had Mark and I not overcome imposter syndrome, we would not have met Steve, and Steve would not have been plugged up with some of the resources that we provided him so that he could go and do this, right? Go watch that interview. Mark's going to put that in the chat right now. And I'm going to fast forward because we are starting to run low on time. Dang, I want to talk about my boy Sorte, but we just don't have enough time. So here's the deal, guys. Can you guys commit to not letting imposter syndrome stop you from living your greatness? Can you guys commit to not always thinking, man, I have to be as good as the next person to go out and provide my services? Put it in the chat if you guys can commit to I got that bucket syndrome. I'm going to have that bucket syndrome if you are going to commit to actually moving forward and not letting imposter syndrome get in your way. Put in the chat. And then we're going to open it up to a question and answer session. 100%. Got you, Tommy. Good stuff. I got that bucket syndrome. There we go. Matthew Moore, I see you. Okay, cool. Guys, let's take about 10 minutes. There we go. Dan says, abso-fucking-lutely. I love it. Good stuff. Okay, let's take 2 or 3 questions. So Mark, and let's take a look on Facebook and see if anybody's asking questions. If you're asking questions on Facebook, Mark's going to check there. If you guys have a question, I'm going to take, let's say, 3 questions, and then we need to wrap up. What questions do you guys have about overcoming bucket syndrome? And I saw some chat in there earlier about value and this and that. Put it in there if you guys have questions before we wrap up. Every time I see that video that Jess sent us, I'm like, that's how to do it. That's how to get over it. Okay. If we don't have any questions, that must mean that I gave a perfect presentation, which I know that I didn't, guys. I know that I didn't. Okay. Here's the deal, guys. Let me go back to my screen and let me go to the right the right slide. Okay, everybody that is on the Zoom webinar, and if you are watching in the Facebook group, if you want to see the rest of the day one presentation where we talked about building confidence, and you want to see the day two where we talked about risk and how to overcome risk and be comfortable with risk, and be able to use risk as your best friend, that's going to be in here as well. And if you want to see day three, where we talked about overcoming procrastination and the 4 biggest hacks that we have to keeping a strong mental fitness, if you guys want access to that, we are building out an entire program. It's called the Bulletproof Mindset for Video Entrepreneurs program. We just launched it. It is kind of like in our pre-launch phase where we're still adding content. So right now, if you want to see the rest of the workshop along with the current content and all the other content that we are going to put into that program, Mark is going to drop a link in the chat. Right now, it's only $27 for lifetime access. So you can see absolutely everything that we covered in the workshop, plus all the stuff that we're going to putting in there. And this is going to help you guys just be in the best mental space for you to be successful video entrepreneurs. So if you guys want access to that, click on the link, go to the chat, and you'll be able to get that. Mark, did you drop that in there already?
Yep, just dropped it.
Okay, cool. If you want access to the Real Deal Video Strategist Club, which is the program that I talked about that Mark and I launched about 2 years and 3 months ago or whatever it was, we've got like 2,000 students that have gone through that program. We have helped them get tremendous results by understanding how to deliver return on investment and value to their clients and make it easy for their clients to say, yes, we want to work with you. We want to pay you $10,000, $25,000. Maybe you're like Steve Richardson and you make $324,000 off of a single client. Steve used what we teach in this program to be able to do that. So Mark, can you put the link to the Real Deal Video Strategist Club? And we're offering a 40% off discount on that. We're going to make the coupon code BUCKET, all caps, BUCKET. We'll take 40% off of that, but that code is only going to be good for the next 48 hours. That's also available on a split payment. So if you want to make 2 equal payments, you can do that as well. And then micro content mastery, we've got that rocking and rolling, but the price went up. Mark will put that there as well. And then last but not least, guys, the Video Strategist Collective. The Video Strategist Collective is our elite mastermind level program. We only have, 3 spots left, Mark, before we close off registration for that?
Yes, I believe it's 3.
So 3 spots only. In 3 spots, you'll get access to the Real Deal Video Strategist Club, Micro Content Mastery, the Bulletproof Mindset. You get access to absolutely everything. If you want to know what's inside the Video Strategist Collective, go ahead and take a screenshot of this. And this is what's included in all of that. So take a picture of that, screenshot of that, access to all the programs. And then this is some of the stuff that we cover. We got all kinds of stuff, guys. This is more of an entrepreneurial resource where we hook you up with everything that you need to be a successful entrepreneur. So take a screenshot of this if you want to check this out. Now, if you do want to take up one of those 3 spots, the only way to get in is to send us an email. Write this email down, team@trdvsc.com. Again, that is team@trdvsc.com. It comes with absolutely everything. And we will talk to you about enrolling just so that you're aware. It is a $4,000 entry fee, going to be a little bit higher. But again, this is for the people who are super serious about growing their business and they're ready to commit to living a life of greatness and doing what they truly want to do in life. So $4,000 to entry, $500 yearly due. This 10 people is actually down to 3 people because we have brought in people since the last workshop. So guys, that is it. Let me stop the share. We got all the links in there. If you guys need those, go ahead and click on them. Do we have any questions? Let me go back to the chat. Do you guys have anything that you want to go over before we end this conversation? Brett, you're in Austin, Texas? Brett, let's link up. I'm in Austin, Texas. Where, Brett, send us a message. Send me an email to team@TRDVSC. Let's link up. We'll go shopping at Precision Camera or something. Okay, guys, that was phenomenal. We got to get to our mastermind meeting with our elite group, and hopefully put in the chat. Did you guys get something out of this? I'm really hoping that you guys will be able to overcome imposter syndrome. Don't let it stop you from going out and getting what you deserve. Okay. Good stuff. All right, guys. Keep an eye out as well. Keep an eye out in your email. We're going to be doing more workshops and all kinds of stuff. Burnout. I got like a list of like 15 things, mindset and motivation things. And again, if you want to purchase the mindset and motivation course, if you miss the workshops, they'll always be uploaded into that program. So I highly recommend that you guys get that at $27 before that price goes up. Okay, that's it, guys. Everybody have a great night. Thank you, Rocco. Thank you, everybody. And we will see you guys on the next one.